Oh, much love and light, beautiful child. Did you finish filling out that form? This moment. Much love and light. Okay. All that. Okay. Let me. That has been bothering me. Fix that. Okay. So I got it to go live on YouTube. Much love and light. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my bells. Well, these are my chimes. Chimes. I love these. It's like having them in the bag. Now I'm just looking to share. I really need to put this fan on. It got hot. I think I'll put the stove on. No stress. Okay. Now we're gonna give. So on this week's edition, I am going to talk more about being spiritual, being a part of your spirituality, being a part of your experience. Let me make sure y'all got me in there. And why it's important. Let me just say first and foremost, everything that I am here doing, being, sharing is literally the instructions to finding yourself. And there's a big misconception out there that spirituality needs to look the same for everyone across the board. And that's not the case at all. The only thing that's gonna look very similar when you transition is that we're all gonna have our unique different styles about ourselves and have an individual way of expressing our values, our morals, and the things that help us to be happy and healthy. So what we can do to help ourselves, much love and light, thank you for tuning in, over here giving the elite conversations to ourselves, because I'm only ever speaking to myself. I'm always going to come from that perspective that I am speaking to a version of myself that is looking to experience more similar levels that they are seeing within me in my reflection. So how I can help you do that is by, number one, helping you to identify that you must understand the difference between spirit-led and spirit-fed. A lot of us have lived our lives saying that we are spirit-led, but we have not capitalized on actually feeding our spirit so that it can remain free from the mental conditions that can easily create illusion for us. The power of being in this body is that we get to be as masterful as we want. But if we don't accept that our mastery is sourcing from our spirit, then we're going to keep on missing the mark. It's not my mark. It's not someone else's mark. It's literally your mark that you should feel an embrace, an opening. You should feel the level up. No one should be coming to you and saying, I see the level up. That is the misconception of where you can feel my vibration has changed. And that is where someone is coming from a place of more an observation. Like, I see you shifting your energy. I see you experiencing something different than you are experiencing in similar situations. And that's where you get to say, yeah, like I leveled up my mindset. I leveled up my reasoning. I leveled up where my mind is set. So what we do in order to reflect more, because our mind is set in more than one place, like more than one place. And what we need to do is really create fields of influence that our mindsets are very similar to each other. They're very free will to be able to loop inside of each other. So what helps us loop inside of our different mindsets is our spirit. So our spirit is our driver. Our spirit is the lead anchor of this all. And we have to take time to see what our spirit is truly asking for. So many of us feel like we need to be rushing, we need to be getting up and being the exposed version of ourselves before we're even prepared. And it's not that easy. You got to walk into your expression. Like, you cannot just, oh, I want to be exuberant, I want to be happy, and then tomorrow, like, you're already embodying that. Like, that's the first step of getting to embodiment. It takes 21 days to break a habit. It takes 90 days for you to truly shift your worlds. And it takes at least 36 months of consistent woke behavior for you to really put yourself into a whole new paradigm, a whole new way of being able to receive your reality. And it's really dependent upon how open you are to your own guidance, to other people's guidance, and being gentle. Spirit is raw and authentic, but it's also gentle. It's also enveloping, right? We envelop ourselves. That means we wrap ourselves around our experience. We wrap our spirit around this experience. And that means everything that's a part of the experience is spirit led. So when we find ourselves in situations where we don't feel like spirit is being led, you start to feel the indifference and retract and become reclusive. And that used to be the old way of being. We used to think that it was okay to recluse ourselves from those that were not awake. And what we are being challenged with and tasked with now is to learn how to push each other divine reflections out in a more positive manner, so that we can naturally be able to attract those kind of engagements for individuals that do need that wake up, that do need just a little bit of a push of their mindset. So one of the examples I can give you is, I usually tell people that sounds like, and I'll use a current example, like the pandemic that's happening right now. People would explain to me like what they're seeing, and I'm like, that's cool that you're experiencing those modalities in your world, but that's not my world. I don't live in that world. I don't carry that timeline. I don't carry that story. So if you want me to hear you, I will hear you, but the chances of me allowing that to be a part of my world, it will definitely not be something I'm looking to accept. I'll still make sure I end that conversation and saying, well, if that's the world you want to live in, cool. However, there are other options. There's other ways to go and move forward. And that's not me pushing my conscious mindedness on them to where like, you got to raise your vibe. It's more so like, cool, you want to be there in that vibe? Cool, but I'm still going to stay in this vibe. And it doesn't matter how much you're going to explain yourself to make me understand that. We break up this moment. We break up this moment. Okay, so let's see what else I can do. I'm gonna see how to share, give people a chance to see me live. So one of the things that is really important for our people to start grasping more definitive action is catching our live streams. And our is spiritually guided, spiritually led, spiritually fed individuals that are opening up their energy at the pockets that are going to be essential for you to open up your energy. So being able to get in rhythm with people that are already aligning themselves with earth energy is where you want to be at. It makes it a whole lot easier for you to jump ship and for you to go with the flow, with the new current of being, and allowing yourself to see another version of spirit. And how you can do that, like right now, how you can do that right now is get yourself involved in like summits that are coming up. Like I'm going to be a part of a summit coming up. I'm going to share that. Most likely I'll get it in the description if I can find the link for it. Well, I'm pretty sure I can. I just got to be able to obtain it. And I'll put a link in the description for the healing summit that I am a part of, I believe on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of September. And there's about 60 speakers speaking about health, and Simply Real YouTube is the creators and connectors of all of these divine souls. I will be one of the presenters as well as a lead motivator to help corral the energy, keep it flowing and keep it jonesing. And it's really a great place to start meeting other people. Find people that you vibe with, make sure you're following them. And then make sure you unfollow people that you are not vibing with. If you haven't seen yourself liking any of their pictures, commenting on any of their posts, then it's most likely time for you to cut ties with that connection, because they're not vibing to your frequency. And if you keep allowing them to stay in your frequency, is going to really send mixed signals to your paradigm. So want to be very cognizant of your paradigm and being able to open up and understand that you are not just leading your world. You're not just leading this physical body. You're also creating indirect choices for all of the people that accept you in their world. They are a part of your paradigm because they know your story, they carry your story, and they support your story. Whether they support it for the better, the worse, the neutral, they are there in support of your story in some way, shape, or form. And the only way that we get to play narrative shifting is by us pushing back into their paradigm, making sure that we reaffirm how our connection is, if it's relevant, bring some current energy to it. If you can't bring any current energy to it, close that chapter, allow it to be available for another time, just not right now. And that's how we're going to be able to really see a shift in our energy. This is how we clear our non-physical energy. Our non-physical energy is where spirit lives. So if you want to give spirit room, you really got to clear that clutter, that, how you would say that, build up, that residual value that comes out over you engaging with people, knowing people. One of the things that I do, and I don't do it all the time, but whenever I do remember, especially when I meet a lot of people in the day, before I go to bed, I release all of the connections of individuals that I met that day, maybe the last 72 hours. I send them complete energy, letting them to move forward with their stories, and they don't have to have any chapter open with me unless they want to come back and open up a new chapter with me. And that removes the weight of expectations, intentions, or it will close the door for any unnecessary pinging back and forth as much as you can. Because some people on the other end are very masterful and they know how to keep their energy within your field of influence, regardless of how much you intentionally remove the attachment. And that becomes another level of awareness to where there are people out there literally holding on to your energy. And it makes it more easier to see who's doing this to you when the other people don't come back and don't look to push more of their story into your story. And that's where we're going to be seeing such a shift in our collective, such a shift in our engagement, in our exchanges with each other, because we're going to see more sacred engagements. Because once we understand that our energy is extremely sacred, our breath is sacred, our relationships are sacred, our the way that we ingest food is sacred, the way that we clean ourselves is sacred. And it, you may not look at it as sacred now, so that just means your sacred level is pretty low, but everything you're doing is divine and sacred. And it is purposeful for us to spend more time making sure that our frequency is in alignment than making sure that other people are satisfied with what you can produce for them. Production is everything, but I'd rather produce a clean slate for myself every single day than keep allowing someone else to put something on my slate that doesn't allow me to clear the clutter. Some people just don't realize how much space they're taking up in your life. And you got to be the one to stop and let them know, like, look, I appreciate you, but I can give you 45 minutes of my time at a time, but 2-3 hours, that's definitely a far stretch. Unless you're looking to exchange some energy with me to where it's going to help me move forward. It's going to help me move my needle. It's going to help me build my kingdom. It's going to help me build my financial freedom. If that's what our extra time is going to do, then great. But if you're not looking to build on your sovereignty to go along with your conscious Christ-like behavior, then what are you doing in anyone's life, in your own life? What is the purpose? And if it's to pay bills, like, why? What is the purpose to pay bills? And we need to really ask ourselves, what are we really getting caught up every single day that's stopping us from showing our spirit-led abilities? Guide yourself through spiritual understanding. Get yourself engaged with some spiritual science, anatomy of the spirit. Be mindful of the art that you craft every single day in every single way, because that is where you're going to get to excel, when you're mindful of what you craft every single day. And that's where you can bring it into the magic realm. That's where you can bring it into the manifestation zone. Manifestation, magic, they're both the same thing. So when we craft and manifest or create our spells of being, we want to make sure it's imbued with spirit, so that we have less of a chance of getting lost. We have less of a chance of losing our faith in what we are walking forward in. When we're spirit led, you don't get to see 27 steps ahead. You get to see maybe 1 step, sometimes 3 steps. If you're really divine in your time, you get to see 5 or 6 steps, but it's really, really a step at a time process. And if you're looking to be able to see way more steps than spirit's looking to give you, then you're definitely going to throw yourself off your kilter. And then spirit's going to show you even less steps, because you need to grasp appreciation of the steps that you've already taken and how far you've come. Because if you're looking for a lot of steps, that means that you just need to show some appreciation to the steps you've taken, because I'm pretty sure you've taken a lot of steps to get here and to be even listening to this video right now. Love to take my breaths in between. That's how I include spirit. And I don't let this body get too overwhelmed with the energy exchange of the expectations. We are all here consistently looking for ways to be in alignment with spirit. And mine is through my breath, because that's one of the easiest things to grab and to pay attention to. And it doesn't take me out of many conversations, and I get to keep going. So practice your breath today. Before you want to respond, take a breath, observe, take another breath, and then respond. And then you'll know that you are learning to be in your sacred, divine, spirit existence. I am a hot star seed. I am so thankful that you tuned in and you watched this. Please check out my other videos. Make sure you share this video with someone else that really needs that spiritual upliftment, that spiritual motivation, because we all need to support each other. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we are unstoppable. Alone, we can do a lot, but we can break because we get exhausted. But with support of each other, of our spirit guides, of our ancestors, of our creator, that which is greater than myself, we start to get a whole lot stronger. Our aura gets bigger, and the dense energy that we are used to experiencing, it gets pushed out a lot further. And if you want to learn of more ways to let go and to be more patient, check out my EM Healing podcast, where we talk about healing all sorts of parts of our life, our experience, and our being. Until next time, keep your talks elite in time.